Here were the very beginnings of civilization. Here in Iraq, these were the first cities of the world.
My origins have always been a big mystery to me. I knew my mom was from this place called Iraq. The story was that long ago, she escaped a life of war and fear, dreaming of a safer future. With the way the world destroyed my mother's home, I never got to learn what it meant to be Iraqi the way that she did. Sheltered from the realities of the world and my artificial Canadian life, I sat and watched while something so dear to her suffered at the hands of evil.
والله أنا مظلوم بالعراق. أنا بالنسبة مظلوم 18 سنة أسير بإيران وما أعطوني حقوقي. وهاي الصورة والصوت مالي لا تلقى بالعراق. وماكو رحمة بالعراق.
ولو مظهر الوطن تعبان، أنا أريد أشوفكم جوهرة ومعدن هذا الوطن العريق.
Really, it's not the Iraq you see on the news, so I want to prove that. And to prove that, I came to Baghdad alone.
ماكو واحد هنا يعني يموت من الجوع. هاي البيوت كلها مفتوحة لك.
أهلا وسهلا بيك، وهاي بيوتنا قدامك، وتعال شو وقت ما تجي. حياك الله.
أهلا وسهلا ببلدهم الثاني العراق.
While they may always have a new way to keep us divided, our hearts will never forget the beautiful history that unites us. So come along with me on my journey through the world's most ancient land.
At the center of our world lies the Middle East, and at its very heart, the ancient land which is Iraq. Two great rivers span its length, the Tigris and Euphrates. In the plain, made rich and fertile by their waters, the earliest civilizations known to man were born. Out of this ancient heritage, the citizens of one of the world's youngest nations are building a new life and a modern state.
أيها الشعب العظيم، أيها النشام المجاهدون، رجال قواتنا المسلحة الباسلة، مع صلاة الفجر لهذا اليوم 20/3/2003 ميلادية ارتكب المجرم.
We come to Iraq with respect for its citizens, for their great civilization.
A report has just come out showing that our invasion of Iraq left 1 million Iraqis dead.
Ageless Iraq is no longer a remote, isolated country. Today, she is a main junction linking the east and west.
That child don't need to be here. Know what school is? Okay, that's what he needs to be doing, not following you.
We filmed these GIs after they caught a group of Iraqis stealing wood.
We try to stop them from looting, they don't understand, so we'll take their car and we'll crush them. United States Army, tankers, whore.
Her capital is Baghdad, a name that conjures up all the romance of Harun al-Rashid and the Arabian Nights of 1,000 years ago, when this was the fabulous capital of the Islamic world. The tempo of an age-old way of life contrasts with the swifter rhythm of the new.
That's what you get when you loot.
تؤدي إلى الجنة، وهكذا كل ما يتصل بجناب النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام من أمور، حتى أن الصحابة الكرام حين يشرب النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام من إناء.
I'd always heard about this place called Baghdad. As a kid, it never made much sense to me. The way I understood it from the news was that Iraqis were the bad guys.
Al-Qaeda fighters, Sunni tribal chiefs, and Shia government forces all fighting for control.
And the good guys were the ones over there, fighting to save the rest of the world. It wasn't until I got older that I learned all the things that make me lucky to be Iraqi.
بالرغم من الحروب اللي صارت وبالرغم من الدمار اللي صار بالعراق ما زالت الناس عندها نخوة، عندها غيرة ومحبة لهذا البلد، شعب طيب وغيور. بغداد كلها عبارة عن تاريخ، والعراق كله تاريخ وحضارة، فليش ما أفتخر أن أكون بغدادي؟
This was a place where the impossible became possible, where ideas and dreams took flight, and where the greatest minds of the age gathered to share their knowledge and wisdom. And yet, as I wandered through this idyllic city, I couldn't help but feel a sense of mystery. Where had it gone?
This is where the Islamic Golden Age really happened. This, right here on the Tigris shores, is where all those great scientific discoveries from Baghdad and from that period happened. You can see now, unfortunately, it's just garbage along the riverside. And yeah, it's a far cry from how Baghdad used to be in its golden age.
What had happened to this once great civilization that had left behind only clues of a forgotten past?
In the year 1258, the city of Baghdad fell to the Mongol Empire. Hundreds of thousands were slaughtered as the city was burned to the ground by the sieging army. 13th century Iraqi scholar Shams al-Din al-Kufi wrote a poem on the sorrow and destruction he saw. 700 years later, the pain of his words is still heard.
يا دار أين الساكنون يا دار أين الساكنون وأين ذياك البهاء وذلك الإعظام يا دار مغافلت نجومك عمنا والله من بعد الضياء ظلام يا دار أين زمان ربعك مونقا وشعارك الإجلال والإكرام والله ما اخترت الفراق وإنما حكمت علي بذلك الأيام.
In a weird way, Baghdad has always been a place of destruction. It was said that after the city fell to the Mongols, its river ran red with blood. Once the promised city of Islam's greatest empire, it never quite recovered from the sword of its enemy. Is this history's way of repeating itself? Or are the invaders Baghdad's curse? Through the rubble, it's always been its people who have carried the legacy. My ancestors before me have lived and prospered on the Tigris shores. And now, I find myself along those same shores, seeing what their home has become.
على هاي حكي يعني تريده يعني بلد تريده حلو ونرجع شلون قبل نرجع الايام جمالنا يصير حلو البلد مرتب وهاي تنظيف كلها وساخه ما وساخه يعني بلد مرتب قبل من كان صدام كان لاكو كتيل لا هاي كل شيء ماكو. ما تصدم قام وعيبه من الله.